All right, so this is it, the final principle. You know, the one that takes everything we've learned and kind of points it toward the ultimate goal. Today, we're going to master principle number 12, enable change to achieve the envisioned future state. And this isn't just the end of our series, not at all. It's really the key to understanding what makes a project genuinely successful. Welcome back to our final explainer in this whole series. Now, if you've been with us from the beginning, you know that each principle really builds on the last one. Well, this is the capstone. It is the entire reason we even do projects in the first place. And trust me, it is absolutely critical for your PMP exam success. So here's the map for our final journey together. We're going to start with the destination, really nailing down what this principle means. Then we'll get into the mechanics, the engine that actually powers the change. And finally, we'll cover the navigation, learning how to steer clear of common roadblocks and master those tricky exam questions. Ready? Let's go. Okay, let's start at the beginning, shall we? What is our destination? What does it really mean to enable change? I love this slide because it frames the whole idea perfectly. The official principle, right, is to enable change to achieve the envisioned future state. But just look at this diagram. Your organization starts in its current state. The project, that's just the vehicle. It's the car you're using to get from point A to point B, the envisioned future state. All that stuff we do, delivering outputs, managing scope, that's just driving the car. The real goal, the whole point, is arriving at the destination, actually realizing value, seeing the changes adopted, and making a strategic impact. Now, this slide gets to the absolute heart of a distinction you have to understand, the difference between an output and an outcome. An outcome's definition is simple. It's what you build. It's the tangible thing. But an outcome? That's the change and the value the organization actually gets. The focus is completely different too. Outputs are about tactical execution, checking the boxes. Outcomes are about strategic realization. And look at the lifespan. An output is finished at project closure, but a true outcome, that should last long, long after the project is over. Let's say it again. The output is just the vehicle. The outcome is always the destination.
And why does this matter so much for the exam? Because this principle is the ultimate goal that pulls all the others together. It's right at the heart of the exam's focus, hitting both the process and the business environment domains. The test is really designed to see if you get the core PMI mindset, that delivering a project perfectly means absolutely nothing if the organization can't adopt the change and actually realize the value.
Okay, so we know our destination. Fantastic. Now let's pop the hood and look at the engine that's going to get us there. How do we actually make change happen?
So this is what I call the change engine, and it has 6 interlocking parts. It all starts with 3 foundational gears: vision alignment, making sure everything we do supports that future state; change facilitation, actively guiding people through the transition with models like ADKAR or Cotter; and benefits realization, which is all about relentlessly tracking the actual outcomes. Then you power those up with 3 more: constant stakeholder engagement to deal with resistance, a plan for sustainability to make sure the value sticks around, and finally, value stream mapping to get there faster by cutting out the waste. These are not just buzzwords, okay? They are the actual gears that power a real transformation.
This slide breaks down how we drive change from the big picture strategy to what's happening on the ground. Over on the left, you've got the strategy. Things like linking every single deliverable back to the business case, proactively dealing with the human side of change, and designing the change so it actually lasts. Then on the right, you've got the execution. Creating a perfect transition plan for when operations takes over, tracking benefits long after the project is officially closed, and this is critical, celebrating adoption to make the new way the new normal.
All right, we have our destination and we have our engine, but you know as well as I do, the journey is never a straight line. So now let's talk about navigation, how to spot and steer clear of the most common obstacles you're going to face.
I need you to pay close attention here because these are the classic distractors you are going to see on the PMP exam. These right here, these are the wrong answers. Stuff like focusing only on the technical work while completely ignoring the people. Or declaring victory the second the project closes without even checking if any benefits were realized. Or, and this is a big one, just assuming change will magically happen on its own. Your job is to spot these traps from a mile away and choose the path of active enablement. So how do you navigate those tricky situational questions on the exam? Here is your 4-step tactical framework. First, always check alignment with the business case. Second, assess the impact on your stakeholders and the organization's readiness for this change. Third, facilitate the change. use your plan, and address the real root causes of resistance. And fourth, monitor the benefits to make sure that value is actually being realized. Now, here's a huge pro tip for you. When a stakeholder resists, don't just escalate. The correct exam answer is almost always to consult the change management plan, listen to understand their concerns, and help facilitate their transition. It's about coaching, not commanding. We've covered the what, the how, and the what to avoid. Now, for our final point, we're going to zoom all the way out to reveal the one foundational mindset that underpins all 12 principles. This is the ultimate guide. And here it is, the PMI mindset. It's built on 3 simple but incredibly powerful pillars: maximize value, treat with respect, and act with integrity. Just think back through our whole series. Whether we were talking about building a high-performing team, optimizing for value, or navigating complexity, it all came back to this, didn't it? This mindset isn't just for Principle 12. It's like the invisible operating system running underneath all 12 principles. So here's the golden rule for you. When you're in doubt on an exam question, just ask yourself, which answer here provides the most value, treats people with respect, and demonstrates integrity? So what's the one big takeaway from this entire series? It's this. The ultimate purpose of every single project is to enable change that delivers the envisioned future state and creates lasting value. That's it. Congratulations on making it through all 12 principles. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If this series helped you out, please do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more. And I've got to ask, which of the 12 principles was the most valuable for you? Let me know in the comments below. See you next time.
Learning reinforcement.
Watch this high-speed train as it tears across the landscape. The engineering is flawless. The engine is running at peak efficiency, and it is entirely on schedule. Yet it completely bypasses the station. A technically perfect vehicle is useless if it misses the intended coordinates. Many professionals enter the field assuming their primary job is to manufacture technical artifacts, focusing on delivering lines of code, on pouring concrete, or deploying hardware, treating the physical build as the final objective of the project. This logic model illustrates the distinction required by PMI's Principle 12. On the left is the output, the static, isolated deliverable you build. On the right is the outcome, the interconnected, measurable shift in organizational behavior and capability. The output is the vehicle. The outcome is the envisioned future state. The deliverable generates value only when it locks in and activates that organizational transformation. To pass the 2026 PMP exam, your decision-making must reflect this hierarchy. A certified project manager governs the project for the destination rather than the vehicle. This distinction carries heavy statistical weight on the exam. The mechanics of enabling change dictate answers across the business environment domain, at 26% of your score, and the process domain, which dictates. Principle 12 integrates all other PMP principles. Risk management, team leadership, and agile adaptability serve to protect the organization's transition to a new operational reality. It also aligns with PMBOK 8's requirement for long-term value delivery. Modern project frameworks measure success against environmental, social, and governance criteria, requiring deliverables to generate enduring external value. The Project Management Institute views project managers as the primary architects of organizational transformation. Success is measured by the resulting business capabilities, regardless of how many tasks are checked off the list. Moving an organization from its current baseline to its envisioned future state requires structural engineering. An unsupported future state collapses without 6 operational pillars. The first is vision alignment. Every task and expenditure must justify its existence against the business case. The second pillar is change facilitation. Project managers use structured frameworks like ADKAR to guide stakeholders across the transition gap. The third pillar is benefits realization. We measure success by verifying the delivery of actual business value instead of just budget compliance. The fourth pillar is stakeholder engagement. You must anticipate and systematically resolve the human friction of changing how people work. The fifth pillar is sustainability. The transition must endure, meaning the solution must be economically, socially, and environmentally sound. The final pillar is value stream mapping. This technique eliminates operational waste, accelerating the transition. The entire structure is now supported and turns green. Without this structural approach, change depends on chance. If stakeholders aren't prepared, a high-performing technical asset will sit idle or be bypassed by the workforce. This relay race visualizes the most vulnerable point of a transition, the critical moment of operational handover. The team transfers the capability directly to operations.
Your jurisdiction as a project manager extends past the technical go-live date. Dropping a deliverable onto a server and walking away ignores the core mandate of value delivery. You must track benefits realization in the post-closure environment. This requires formal transition planning, ongoing training, and actively reinforcing new behaviors among the end users. A project is complete when the new operational behaviors have replaced the old ones. Exam writers understand human psychology. This dashboard represents 4 specific cognitive traps designed to look correct to a project manager focused on technical execution. Trap 1 is the technical obsession. The manager focuses entirely on the build phase, controlling scope and schedule, while ignoring the user's readiness to operate. Trap 2 is premature victory. A manager declares success at the closing phase because deliverables meet technical specifications without verifying the expected financial business benefits. Trap 3 is the dropped baton. The team shifts to a new initiative without a documented transition plan, leaving operations to manage maintenance entirely alone. Trap 4 is passive assumption, the belief that stakeholders will automatically adopt a superior tool. It ignores that even the best systems require active facilitation. Selecting any option that mirrors these 4 behaviors will result in an immediate penalty. When an exam question presents a scenario involving systemic resistance to change, apply a strict diagnostic protocol. Step 1. Immediately assess the deliverables' alignment against the business case. Verify the change causing friction is necessary to achieve the future state. Step 2. Assess the exact impact the change forces upon specific stakeholders, quantifying how their daily operations will be altered. Step 3. Consult the change management plan to engage resisting stakeholders and diagnose the root cause of their friction. Step 4. Monitor the transition. Once the root cause is addressed, facilitate the adoption process and verify that the intended benefits are being realized. Notice what is missing. Never simply escalate conflict to the sponsor. Pushing resistance up the chain of command transfers the problem instead of solving it. PMI standards require you to resolve friction through root cause analysis and direct, structured engagement. Punitive escalation is not the answer. Across all 12 principles, a distinct behavioral mindset emerges. The exam tests whether you have internalized this framework for professional judgment. You can navigate ambiguous scenarios by filtering every multiple choice option through this rule. Does the action provide the most value? Treat people with respect and demonstrate integrity. Applying this triad helps eliminate distractors. Options that skip root cause analysis fail the requirement for respect. Options that ignore the business case fail the requirement for value. The deliverable eventually reaches obsolescence, but the structural evolution of the organization remains. You have now completed the theoretical framework required to navigate the 2026 PMP exam. If this rigorous breakdown provided clarity, subscribe to the channel for continued strategies in project management and exam tactics. These 12 principles provide a framework for handling the complexities of modern project delivery.